Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Alien Earth review series. I guess I'm still the podcaster, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by
The lung, Taylor Field.
the long, oh my god.
You had it
Yes,
right the
ladies and
first
gentlemen.
time. You had it right the first time.
No, I did this way.
Yeah, I'm that way. That's where I'm at for you.
No,
You're pointing at me right now.
not on my screen, I'm not. On my screen, I'm
What?
pointing the, on my
I'll
screen, I'm
show
pointing the
you. I'll
opposite
show
way.
you. I'll show you. Okay,
Sure.
point again. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and I'll show you.
Okay,
So people
check
that
the
don't know,
Chibi chat.
for the people that don't know, so I'll go this way. Hang on. I'll go, see, fingers pointing that way, and then I'll send it to you after. But Kirkland's be like, "What the fuck?" People are like pointing fingers. See, and then look when I show it to you. For people that don't know, on audio, I pointed to Taylor in my intro, and when I point to him, for him,
Is your
is
camera mirrored or something? That's
no. I think your camera's mirrored.
your camera's mirrored because when I look at this photo, your
Oh, mirror
post
my
is the
camera.
other side.
So wait a second. So put that makes okay. There you go. We fixed it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Alien Earth Episode 3. A big thank you to everyone that checked out. I'd have to look. It might have climbed up a little bit when I checked today, but at least everyone that checked out last week, Alien Earth was our 13th biggest episode of the year. Now you might be like, oh, why are you shouting that out? Like 13? No, for me, that's like the amount of stuff we do, amount of content we cover. You know, like there's no like, as much as Dexter, you know, our Dexter audience lives on YouTube, but like there's no Dexter episode in the top 10 there, but Aliens climb up. So a big thank you, because you never know what these shows like, if people are interested or whatnot. I hope that people, one, are interested in the show, and then two, people are interested in our review of said show, because we're going to be doing this for the next couple weeks here. So yeah, Kirkland's not joining us tonight. He's feeling under weather, but like we've said before, with this, Dexter, Gen V, and Peacemaker starting, I think you'll get a lot of weeks where there's, you know, me and Taylor, Kirkland and Taylor, me and Kirkland. Sometimes just things like stack up with side quests and other stuff too. So sometimes you need a little break off, because like next week I probably won't be here. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we do, head down below for everything you need to know. That's where you get the Patreon. You get every episode ad free. You get exclusive episodes, early episodes, depending on the tier. If you want to join us this Saturday, 6 p.m. PST, we're doing an After 9 movie night where we will be watching Amazon's 2025 War of Worlds. Yes, this movie, that's one of the worst review movies of all time, but people want it. They literally paid for it, so we're going to be doing it. So look out for that. And you can join Patreon to vote for Golden Geeks as well. That's going to be up for now 9 days left, and that will decide the winners for our 1994 Golden Geeks, which is our version of the Oscars. Then lots of other stuff. Peacemaker this week. Dexter continues. We got Side Quest tomorrow. Me and Taylor did a banger newscast last night. Tons of great topics. So big thank you, because we're popping off, and lots of good stuff is on the way. But Taylor Field, speaking of good stuff, was this episode more good stuff for you? Discuss.
Discuss. I would say so. I think it was great. Like to quote a certain Discord member in our chat. Let's see if I can find it.
God won't
here.
save you? Oh, no, sorry. I put that in a
No.
different one.
Um.
I don't know what I have no idea what you're quoting, but I'm gonna say that you should have probably had this ready for.
So I mean, Superbad Mike says that there's the Holly slow burn right there. It definitely took me back to Legion days. Now I've not seen Legion, so I don't know.
Mhm.
But as far as I'm concerned, like slow burn, I didn't get that at all this episode. I was actively
Really?
engaged, and I feel like okay, we had a
But that doesn't
very
mean a.
exciting start to this episode, and I feel like okay, all the dialogue. Well, I was maybe a bit concerned moving forward because I thought okay, episode 1 and 2 they were big, you know, they were pulling in action heavy, roping me in and everything like that, very engaging. And I thought okay, kind of like Rings of Power, you have a big event that happens and then you have all this really slow burn, a lot of stuff that's just heavy setup and narrations and build up and everything like that to get that thing at the end, that climactic point. But it's like it wasn't super climactic at the end. With this I was worried because I thought what are we going to have all this in between stuff with? In this episode, I didn't feel like there was a lot of slow building of the world. I felt like we
Really?
got quickly established a few different arcs that were very intriguing, and I think okay, we've got four, and I'm excited to break it down because we've got four storylines here that are impacted and with Prodigy, and just to see how this is going to unfold and be the downfall of Prodigy.
I would say though, you're saying with Rings of Power, like, oh, things slow down. They set up a lot for the season.
There was
I feel
so
like that's
much
what.
talking in that show.
Yeah, but that's still setup. I think slow burn doesn't mean boring or bad. It just means they're taking their time. I think you're just enjoying the slow burn more because there's not like my spoilers. There's not a single action scene. Okay, there's one action scene that's very quick, maybe under a minute in this episode, opposed to episodes 1 and 2, which had a lot of them. So I think I think this is a slow burn. I'm not that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but I think this episode is just primarily focused on setting all the pieces on the board for the next. I think it's like what. I think it's 8 episodes, so this would be
I
five
didn't
more
know there were
episodes. I
good
think.
slow burns. I always associated
Yeah,
a slow burn as being bad.
yeah, like when you watch No Country for Old Men at some point, that's a slow burn, but it's a good slow burn. Yeah, no, slow
Mm.
burn does not mean bad. Snow Hawley, he just takes his time a lot, very similar to kind of what you talk about with Rings of Powers, with that where there would be some big events, but there it would take your time to get to it, but it would do that so that when you got to them, all the bases were covered. So yes, a slow burn can be good, Taylor, in a
Okay,
story wise, not in real life. A slow burn, not good.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's it. That's your
That's it.
thoughts.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with your points there when you're talking about Mike's points there. I'm a Legion fan, and yeah, it did feel very classic Noah Hawley as far as, okay, we're taking our time, we're getting lots of things on the go, we're going to experiment with this, or experience this going forward for a little bit. I'm still invested in all the storylines, particularly what happened at the end. I was like, oh man, I don't want to even. I was going to make a joke, but I don't even want to say that because I would spoil it. So in case you haven't seen it, but no, I think this was a good episode. I've enjoyed all the episodes. Like, it's weird to say I enjoyed this one the most so far. I would say it had like the least amount of problems. Where I didn't have like a huge set of problems with episodes 1 and 2, but that's where I do think now I had some issues. Not issues. There were more concerns about. Okay, I talked about this before, right? Like an alien movie is you meet the crew, and then you kind of just get the lay of the land, and there's an inciting incident, and then you set up, oh, there's something not right, and then third act's usually just balls to the wall, aliens are doing something, right? Which is, I felt like we kind of got that now in episodes 1 to 2, and we're dealing with the fallout of an alien movie. So that's what I'm trying to look at it right now is if you were to watch episodes 1 to 2, that's like Alien Earth, the movie, and this is like oh god, the prologue, right? No, is it, am I screwing that up? There's prologues after the fact, right?
Epilogue.
Epilogue. Thank you. I knew I was screwing up. So that's what this feels like so far, and I think this works better for me so far. Because not that I did not like the stuff we got last week, but I just thought that's going to be a tough pace to keep up for. I think this is 8 episodes. Like I will confirm that. I think it's 8 episodes, right? We talked about this last week. It's a problem with all these shows. Yeah, 8 episodes. So I just thought, man, being on like an alien adventure movie, that's gonna be tough to keep up for 8 hours, right? But I think this is great where last week was like a 2 hour alien movie, and now we're getting into some stuff where I feel, even though we've talked about what's going to be canon, what's not, I will say the best sense of, not to set up any expectations, I would say this is, we're feeling more Prometheus like, and I'm a Prometheus fan, so I enjoy that. But I think there's multitude things I could tie to and say, oh, and not obviously it's alien in general, right? Because Ridley, he set that up, but I feel like specifically Prometheus, because that had a lot to do with science, and that had a lot to do with like corporations, right? Like Miss Vickers and what she's looking after and everything. So I'm very intrigued where we're gonna go now with especially the last little bit. But no, it's yeah, no, a good episode. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm ready for next week, and now that I know what we're kind of doing here, I'm completely fine with it. I do agree with a friend of the show, Stephen Colbert. We've had Amanda, his wife, on before many times, and he had tweeted something out, and I do agree with this, and this is why I think I don't love the first 2 episodes as much as maybe you or other people that did really enjoy it. I felt like there was a lot of, hey, we really, I'm paraphrasing what he tweeted, but like, we really got to make, like, the show is afraid to lose viewers. And I feel like the first 2 episodes was like, go hardcore on lots of big set pieces and the alien popping off and the alien going like full predator rotating people out. It did really feel like, okay, we got to get people hooked on this, and then we're going to get to the actual show. And I know tons of people did enjoy those first 2 episodes, but for me, it just felt like just kind of a sliced up movie, which I'm not looking for when I got a TV show. But yeah, so far so good as far as what we're going on. There's a couple questions I have, a few quality ones, but more so just like theory crafting of, hey, what's going on with this? What are they doing here? And it's going to be interesting. I think I'm invested in all the stories, except I wouldn't say I'm not invested in one, but I definitely have like a low tier one. They're not all equal bars. There's definitely one where I'm like, and that's where I'll say it's like a quality where I'm like, okay, I don't know if this tracks really as far as like I need more, and it could give me more because I trust Noah Hawley. So it's just kind of like a question mark right now. But anything else before we get into spoilers, Taylor?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we're going to get into spoilers. So we're going to take our first ad break, and then if you've not seen the episode, come back and watch it or listen another time later. So we'll be right back. And we are back. So, Mr. Field, where would you like to start?
I just start as this is kind of like the overarching umbrella at the top here, where you got these four synthetics basically, and how this is basically setting up the whole story here, where you got
The Lost Boys and the Neverland Kids? Those
yeah,
ones
well, you
you're
got
talking about?
Wendy and basically everything that's going on with her. Now she's kind of going through repairs, and they were kind of associating a kind of connection with her and listening to the facehugger screeching. And then
What is that? What is like?
well, hang on.
Okay.
Before we break into that, and there's the other one where you have I can't remember what her name is, like Nibbit or something, and she's kind of like obsessed with the eye alien, and there's a story that's unraveling there. And then you have the other guy who with Morrow basically putting that like listener comms device in his neck. So now he's got
Yeah.
that narrative, and now he's friends with Morrow reluctantly. And then you have the other one who wants to be the number one to Prodigy and be like the overstep and take over what Wendy's position is. So you got these four things, and I think all four of these robots are going to be the downfall of Prodigy.
I think so. You said there's four. There's definitely a fifth thing that's probably gonna be the downfall of Prodigy.
With the fifth one of the AIs, like I'm thinking.
Oh,
specifically
you're
with
just the
kids.
AIs. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not that, but it's still something the AI's doing.
Yeah, but you want to continue on what you're talking about with Wendy and the connection.
Yeah, so last week when that happened, because they did that multiple times, right? When the xenomorph was running around and she would hear that. But I just thought, especially lots of those scenes when that was happening, at least I recall. I think there was some times before she met her brother, but when she gets with her brother, and I think this was done on purpose, she's hearing it coming here, moving and stuff like that quite a bit. And I just thought, okay, he's not hearing it because he's a human, right? But this is like a enhanced android that has like, if the
Right.
xenomorph is hidden so far, she can hear it. So I thought nothing of it last week. I just thought, okay, she's got enhanced hearing. She can hear the xenomorph coming when other people can't. Even if she's like a better version, because she was like the Prodigy's, the Boy Genius's favorite. Maybe she has some perks that other people don't. But now it does not seem like that. It does not, to me, seem like a, other people can't hear it. It's like the other synths are there. Maybe, like I said, maybe she has more. But this did not feel like she can just. It's a power of. Hearing. It feels like it's somehow linked with the face hugger. I guess it's just a face hugger. I was gonna say face hugger baby, but I don't know what's going on with that. What did you take from that?
I took it the same initial thought that you had, where okay, she's got heightened hearing, she can hear different frequencies, and she's just picking up the fact, okay, these audio cues that are the aliens are emitting, she's detecting it. Humans can't pick up that frequency and so forth. But she's not the only one of those synthetics in that lab when the facehuggers are going crazy and their eggs. So it's weird because the timing of it too, the facehugger was freaking out, but once they sedated that facehugger with the shock and were carving it up, she was in sync with it. The facehugger was freaking out and she was freaking out. Then it was sedated with electrical shock, and then she starts to calm down and walks into the lab. So I don't know exactly, because if she's hearing
Well,
it,
then
the
she
other-
passed out at the end, though, right? At the end,
she did.
passed out.
I'm thinking it's just malware issues. She's not fully back up and running. So maybe she's just hearing things like extra level than what the others are. But I don't think that the showrunners are going to be doing that. I think okay, they're probably making some kind of tie in here, but she's not organic anymore. So what kind of
Yes.
connection psychically could she hold with one of these alien creatures? I don't know. It's tricky to figure out where they're going to go with that.
That's the interesting thing, because if it was a human, I would have say, okay, whether it's something we missed or something, they could have done something to her while she was under. If it was human, I could buy right away. Oh, not buy right away. I'm not saying the show's not going to not sell me what's going on. I just mean the sense that if it was a human, I'd have so many things to grasp on. Oh, it's probably this, or this, because I just feel
Right.
like easier, like you said, it's organic, right? But with her, other than her conscience, it's a a synth body. She got struck in the head today, had that the white milk blood come out, so it's like she's not exactly like we've seen in the past, but she is pretty much built the same way, right? For the to just compare to like an Ash or a David, they can break, they have robot parts in them. So the fact that they're kind of making this for what it felt like was a almost soul like connection or a biological connection, which is it really threw me off. And I'm curious of how they go about that. I'm curious if that's how they because I don't I was gonna say if they're gonna try and do some sort of argument of like, oh, machines have sort of souls things, but I don't necessarily know if I need an alien xenomorph or facehugger to be connected. Like, I don't know if I need that debate or thought put into the show as far as like, oh, that to me is a big retcon for some reason of like that, not a retcon, but it's an addition that I would not enjoy of like these xenomorphs having some connection to things souls. Like we've never seen that, and that to me would be a big leap even with it being not a human. So I'm very curious. I need to definitely, this is a storyline that I need to see play out, see what's going on with it, because it was a big emphasis, because I thought, okay, it's gonna be fine, she's gonna go in the lab and I guess see what's up. But it was a big struggle for her. And yeah, every time they were experimenting on that thing, it was bugging her. So now also, I don't know what that means, and we can tie it in. This is where I said it was like Prometheus. And what I was going to say in the non-spoilers, like, David might not be here in person, but he's certainly here in spirit, because that's what they're doing right now, so the brother, he's hurt, right? He got stabbed. We'll talk about this scene now where someone's, of course, backing in my fucking driveway. Out of all the driveways, man, your lousy car. So at the beginning of the scene, which I didn't understand other than a horror moment. So I guess we'll go back to the very beginning to set this whole thing up with what's going on with the long hair. So at the beginning, it's the sisters looking for, what was his name? Is it Hermit, or what the hell was that again? His name?
I think it's Hermit. I think
Is it
Hermit?
Hermit? So last week, obviously, they fell off that kind of bridge thing, right? And say, okay, how does he escape? Which we didn't even talk about that. It looked like they were kind of making him into that kind of human egg farming system, right? That's what Xenomorph was looking to do to Herman here.
Yeah, basically setting up the nest.
Yeah, so which makes sense. The eggs of, I would assume they could go back to it, or they might feel they're taken. I don't know, which we'll get into the eggs later. But anyways, so that's happening. Or I guess the eggs wouldn't have came from that xenomorph, right? That would have came from a different xenomorph, or could that have came from that xenomorph? The eggs.
So the continuity of all this, I don't know.
Okay.
My canon though is eggs come from a queen. You need a
Yes,
queen
that's what
alien,
I thought.
or you have a David that could create an egg out of just using the black
Oh,
goo or whatnot.
he's
Because
there.
actually, okay, let's not go Prometheus route. Let's go Romulus route. They human scientists for the Weyland-Yutani were able to use the black goo that they derived from Big Chap, the alien from the first Alien movie, and were able to turn that black goo and create more facehuggers out of that experimentation. So you have that route. But the way I see it is no, you need a queen for the most part. The queen produces the eggs and so forth.
But how do you? This is a dumb question because it's all like fake and whatnot. But are you just born a queen, or does one eventually? How does a queen exist?
So this is where aliens are very diverse. Now, Alien 3 introduced the plot line of royal facehuggers, where these
God.
facehuggers, like, they look different. Now, the facehugger basically is carrying a queen embryo and implants it. That's why Ripley had a queen in her, because it was a specialty. So there are queen aliens that are selected that way to establish new colonies. But then there's also in some of the games you can see, okay, some aliens, some xenomorphs that they go about, they're born as a regular xenomorph, they're running around, and then if a queen for the hive dies, then another one will it will turn into a queen.
This could
for
be the
hive.
case, right?
This could be the case. Yeah, you never know. So all we know for sure is that aliens they're very self-sufficient. And even if you have
Yes.
one, then there you go. Now, I was for a second thinking, man, that would be crazy if they kind of pursue the original Alien route here, where there's those deleted scenes we talked about in the retro, where an alien, you have the egg. Facehugger comes out of the egg. Facehugger impregnates a human. Alien comes out of the human. Alien captures a human, then turns the human into an egg, and then that egg produces a facehugger and then goes on a human and so forth. But they didn't do that concept because that means one alien takes two humans, which is a whole long process. But I for a
Well,
second
unless
thought
it was
maybe
looking-
Hermit was going to get that
I
treatment.
was gonna say, just because we didn't see that, Hermit could have been the first human, right? And then there could have been like the xenomorph could have been looking for more if they needed two humans to do
That's
that
true.
system.
That's true. And that's something like even in Alien Isolation, there's inklings that maybe there's an alien queen on that ship, but you never, I don't think you ever get the real truth about, okay, where did all these alien eggs come from? There's a hive that's established, there's more than one alien, and there's all these eggs. It's like, okay, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And that's where people think, oh, maybe it was turning people into eggs, kind of a situation here too. So there's really no definitive answer. Like if you have one alien, it's going to turn itself into a hive, basically.
So my thing is, so that's what's happening to Hermit. He gets put there. He's getting strung up and everything like that. The sister finds him. They're in like a shipping container cart, and it's like, okay, they're trying to exit the cart, and the xenomorph, of course, pops its head in, and it's like, oh, it's looking out and everything like that. I didn't understand why the xenomorph didn't. I know probably what you're gonna say is she had a sword, so the xenomorph's gonna like try to avoid her, I guess. But I don't think I bought the xenomorph having to jump up on the thing instead of just attacking them upright. Especially when we saw this xenomorph like tear through people. I didn't think like, oh, this sword's gonna make it back down. For people if they didn't watch, it's there's like a entrance. Instead of going through the entrance and attacking the two, it goes up on the crate and tries to attack them from the top. Of course, it's stabbed. We get the acid blood we were talking about last week, but I didn't buy that the xenomorph would not charge them. It felt a little plot armory. It felt like these characters can't die,
It was odd. Like, I liked the scene. I thought it was really cool. The xenomorph was there and was just kind of like scoping it out, the situation. This is really the first time you really get to see synthetics and xenomorphs kind of, I would say, like, interacting on this level, this scale. Like the only other time we really get to see like a synthetic and the xenomorphs interact is when Bishop gets like pierced in Aliens, and then you see what's his pickle in the first one, what's his name,
Ash.
Yeah, you see Ash basically dissecting the facehugger. But you never really get to see on this scale, like the two actually fight with each other. And I often wonder what kind of senses does the xenomorph have trigger when it comes to synthetic. Like humans and organics are very much a different story when it comes to xenomorphs and what they can sense and detect. So in this case, it's like maybe it couldn't get a proper read on it, and I'm headcanoning this at this point because I just don't know. But I think it didn't like the uncertainty of what this thing was, and it knew the human was in behind Wendy, so it makes sense why I went for the vents. But again, I'm headcanoning it. The whole scene was great and I love it, but it does not necessarily make a lot of sense.
Which is strange because there's two things. I think they're just trying to. This is why I do agree that sometimes they're just trying to make sure that people get some action and some thrills. That's why they'll stay. Because there's the way the scene ends is the brother and the sister get separated, and then the alien gets taken out. Like they just cut. Like you don't see any of the action. The next time you see Wendy and the alien's head's chopped off. So I feel like there's two ways. One, you just have the xenomorph charge them, and then you shoot that from the outside, and you just hear sounds, and you get the same result. You could still stab the brother, have her hurt, and then the xenomorph dead in that container, or literally you don't have the xenomorph pop up until it gets close to the elevator door, right? They get out, and then boom, it ambushes them, and then you fight over to there. Like it felt like I think they were just doing an extra beat to add, like, oh, it might get you, but in the moment it took me out because I'm like, well, why isn't this thing charging? Especially it'd be different if we hadn't seen it, because I would say, okay, maybe they see the sword and they're wondering what's going to happen, but we've seen this xenomorph just tear through stuff. But anyways, that happens. They gather the container, it hops on the brother, it almost gets him with that second mouth, but then the sister, I don't know what she was using, some sort of hook or something like that. A meat hook. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. And she just stabs the thing by the second mouth, pulls that out. And then, yeah, they go into like an elevator shaft. They fight. She has a sword, cuts its head off. But before that, obviously the alien did some damage because she's bleeding from the head, and also stabbed the brother. Stabbed the brother in a sense that I thought he was going to be dead, because where he got stabbed was not looking good. So these two get a medevac because obviously the xenomorph is dead. And that's what I kind of, I'm like, it sounds weird, but I'm happy Xenomorph is dead. And again, I think that might make me like the first two episodes better, because that makes me go, oh, that's why they popped off with the Xenomorph so much, because in the first 5 minutes of episode 3, they're going to kill this one off, right? And I do feel like it's going to be quite a while before we get another one. I feel like...
Is that the only one, though? And
No.
This is where I get confused, though, because, I mean, at this time... when that one synthetic was with the eggs and like lifted up the skin of another
Yeah.
Xeno, and we saw that there were multiple chests that were burst, right? I know they emphasized like the one face hugger in that scene, but like, could there possibly be more
Oh,
aliens right now running around? But again, they said they searched the site and everything like that, so maybe.
yeah. I I guess there's always a chance there could be one. I'm not gonna say for sure no, because you're right. There is other chest bursters, but at the same time, it does. I guess it depends when we get that answer. It would feel odd, like 6 episodes from now, for one just to pop up, right? I need some information
Yeah.
like they captured, like, because like, what's it? Just run around Earth and no one's reporting this, like, and it's not on the ship. It sounds like they have the ship now, right? So it's this thing of, unless it's hiding somewhere, like an event or something like that, that I could see where okay, maybe they scan the ship, but something is, there's some area, a basement, something that they didn't think a hidden department, then yeah. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I got more the sense that it's going to be the experiment stuff. That's like you said, the
Yeah.
synths are going to bring them down. I agree with that to a point as well, but then I think the experiment stuff because, and that's why again I appreciate the xenomorph popping off the first two because you get that there, and I think whether it's on the ship or whether it's this experiments, we probably might not see an xenomorph because what we're in episode 3, so 4, 5, 6. I could see episode 6, even 7, like the penultimate. Like I'd see another 3 to 4 episodes where we don't see another xenomorph, right? We see maybe variations, but I could
The
see them save
variations,
that.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
see the evolution of this thing growing.
Yeah, but also I don't think it's gonna be where a way where it's gonna be like tearing up Shaw or tearing Progeny. Like I think that's gonna be saved for the penultimate and then the finale. I don't think you're gonna get another unless there's like a flashback or something. I don't think whatever they experiment on. I guess granted, actually, one of those other things they're experimenting on could break out, and that could give us an action scene. So I bet that happens. But for the actual xenomorphs, well, I guess the eggs are still there too, right? So that can always pop off. And the boy genius was getting way too close, which all fine. Like just grab
Would
my
have
chest,
made
like, oh,
Kirkland
you gotta get
happy.
out.
That's how close he was getting to the eggs.
Oh yeah, Kirkland was rooting for that probably, but yeah. So they get medevaced out. They're Wendy's, having her issues. They have her kind of sitting there in like some sort of chair where there's like a red color for when she's not working, then blue when she wakes up. I did appreciate we didn't get an answer because the guy kind of bitched out, but that's fine. There's that like third in command with the Neverland kids, and he's talking to the second command. So I'm sorry I don't know their characters, but he's saying this lady like, I don't get this. Like this is like a $10 million project, and you're just gonna send it out there. And the boy
10-year project.
or 10-year. I think he's a 10-year, but then the B word was thrown in there at some point, like something billions. And so he's like, "Why do you do that?" The boy genius comes in, he stops talking, tells him to grow a spine, but they don't really have the fight. So I hope that gets expanded on more. It's not just that because that was a hang up of mine. Of I get it, they want to send them out there, but to send them all out there in this unknown situation felt like a huge leap. So I did like the show was questioning that. So I hope that kind of maybe questions our boy genius's leadership. But anyway, so they're working on the both of them. Seems like we talked about with Wendy, she was okay until the dissection of the face hugger, and this was very interesting. This was a great scene where they have all the since like they're taking him out, they're doing like the autopsy, get the face hugger pinned down. What did you think of? So Oliphant pulls out like a very smaller, almost like like it looks like a bug, and it's like I'd say like maybe 3/4 size put together, and looks like so the face hugger is almost like a shell for this thing to kind of control because it looked like it was moving along, had like a nervous system, stuff like that. What do you think? Because unless I'm wrong, is this this is new to the Alien franchise, right? Like something
Sorry.
within the face hugger.
Something in the face hugger?
Yeah, because he took the face hugger apart,
Yeah.
but then he pulled out
That's the alien embryo.
But have we seen that before on screen?
No.
That's what I mean. Okay, so that's where, but so it's always been known there was like another thing in the face hugger.
Well, why do you think they would go on your face and impregnate you?
Well, I just thought that was there's many species that like when they're ants or stuff like that, when they get something pregnant, they just die, or like a bee, right? If it stings, you just die.
But that's the thing though, like because you always have to wonder where that xenomorph comes from, right? And so the egg has the
black
face
goo.
hugger, and the face hugger always it's the carrier that has the alien ingested.
Yeah, I didn't know
inside.
that. I just thought the face
You
hugger
didn't
was the
know
beam
that?
that populated that. Well, again, how would I know that? Because I just asked you, and I said, "Have we ever seen that?" They've never shown me that.
They've said it many times. Even the original Alien, they say it laid something inside him. They're like, that's
Yeah, but that
Ripley's
could be-
words.
Yeah, it laid something, but that could just be that could be something where, let's say, the face hugger, the same way, Taylor, my semen is not like alive in me, but when I put in something else, it becomes alive. That's why I thought the face hugger, same thing. That, like, there's not like a little alien thing like floating around in my balls like that. This is
So
like a
you
conscious,
mean
like when they picked it out, it had like little legs and it had like you could see its skeleton
that
form.
thing we have not seen before, but we've always known that the face hugger impregnates something that
I know
gestating
that.
embryo inside. Okay, that's what I was worried because
No, I
yeah.
knew that, but I didn't know there was like a little another, which I don't even think Ridley would have put that in there. I didn't think there was like an addendum to there was like another thing in the face hugger. I just thought it was the face hugger itself impregnating the human,
But
like the combo, and then boom, you know.
well,
Like the
I
face hugger's semen. Which,
I always looked at it as like, let's say for example, and this is gonna sound kind of gross, when you watch Alien vs Predator Requiem and the hybrid pred alien is
alien.
basically over top of the pregnant woman and impregnating her, and even the
Yeah.
other women that you see in the show in the movie too, you can see going down the throat. They're like egg size, like just going down the throat, multiple ones of them, and so those
Yeah.
are again like I never had
Sure,
like an
but I never
image to-
pictured this little alien.
No,
thing.
I never
I knew
pictured
it was
it,
eggs.
but
I knew that was happening, Taylor.
I
Oh
never
my
pictured
God.
the little alien thing, but the alien thing makes sense that's always that's there. Like it fits, it tracks. Like I've never put more thought into it or questioned it. But this is the first time,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. They've cut it open and they've shown it.
And so it's interesting. So that happens, and while this is happening, they show the brother. He's getting surgery, so you're thinking, oh yeah, they're just giving him surgery, saving his life. They take his whole lung out, which is like very impressive that they're taking his lung out. They're surgically repairing it. So you think, okay, like I guess they're gonna put him back in there, right? But just like David, just like Waylon Yutani, doesn't matter. Prodigy is the same, where the lung is being repaired and it's sitting in like a jar of water, a very big jar, but still a jar of water. Directly from that surgery, Oliphant's character has taken out the little alien thing from the face hugger. It's walking around with it, and he dumps it into the thing. And not unlike David, though. I guess that's the difference between these two. David was definitely going rogue, right? David was just having a complex where he's an AI, but he wants to create himself, right? Which to me, I always love that storyline. This is an AI that has been instructed by the boy genius, because the boy genius is watching this all go down. He throws the little alien thing in the water, and then the last scene of the show is the alien thing climbing into the lung and then just embedding, kind of like you would with, obviously it's not the same as a face hugger, but the same idea where it is now implanted that, and now this fucking guy is gonna get this lung put back in his body. And
Do you think they're gonna do that? I mean, why not just put the face hugger on it and just watch what happens? Because they hooked up the valves and everything to the lung and have it breathing in the tank.
'Cause
It does seem like they'll have it just grow in the tank.
I think if you do the face hugger and all that stuff, in my opinion, I think this is going to stay between the boy genius and Oliphant for now. So I think if you do the face hugger or a bit more elaborate means, other people might catch on and might think it's inhumane. Because even with the whole thing, you could argue the whole soul versus body versus AI. At the end of the day, that guy can say, hey, these kids are going to die. They're going to pass away. So it's either they die or I give them a new body, right? A purpose. And even if you have some questions, you might go, well, I can understand that. I think there's a lot of people that might be like, okay, we repaired this guy's lung, but... And he's just some random. He's not an employee. He's not no contract. We repaired his lung, but we're gonna put an alien entity in his body. I think there could be more people that would go, "Hey, I'm not cool with this," or "Hey, report you to the government," or X, Y, and Z. Right. So that's why I feel like this is a more low key way to do it, where you just get it embedded in the lung. Plus, I think it's more fun that way, because even though it's the same as the face hugger, it's still different, right? Because the facehugger has this thing where it gets on and it implants itself, and then you see the chest burster and all that stuff. We don't know if it's going to work that way this time, right? We don't know if the hermit's going to get a chest burster, because this is like, I think this is almost like if we're talking about the facehugger being like, if we're talking about, productive reproduction things, right? Someone's face is the vagina with the eggs, and the face hugger is a penis with the semen. This is like oh god, I'm fucking up the word. What is it when you get like
Inseminate?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like that, where it's not saying a natural way, but it's not like you need some help, right? You need some medical help, and that's completely fine. But I'm saying that's what this is like in the alien version, where it's not like a complete just body to birth. This is it being implanted in in a lung, and same thing. I don't know, like, does the alien usually go to the lung? I don't know what happens when the face hugger gets in the body and all the stuff goes
That's a
there,
smart
right?
choice where they put the face hugger going in the lung, because every time, especially because we have you can see where the alien breaks out. It's the chest where the lungs
Yeah.
are. But the big thing too, in the odd times where we see like predators and they're turning like their xenovision, specifically AVP, you can see that the alien is always rummaging around right where the lungs are, so
Yeah.
it tracks.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh no, my right headphone just like all I think all the audio's gone from it because I couldn't hear you at all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what the fuck? Oh, that sucks. New headphones coming. But yeah, so I hope it's not just a chest burster because to me, then that makes it like what I've liked about the show so far is they are trying to do new things with the world, right? We talked about the Netherland kids, this idea of a new prodigy doing some different stuff, these new creatures. To me, if it's just they put it in there and Herman gets his chest burst, it's like okay, we've seen that there, done that before. I think they should do different things now. I do think there is a risk because I don't want this to be a spoilers for Romulus. So Scott, like skip ahead like 2 minutes or so. I don't want this to be like a he slowly turns into something. Not that I'm not oppose that because I like the ending of Romulus and I like what they did there. For me, I just worry budgetary wise. If you start to get this guy looking like a alien human hybrid, I just wonder if they got the budget to make that look good. Like my biggest fear is us talking about this on the finale and it's Hermit who's like mutated into this alien human hybrid and he's chasing after Wendy and
Mm.
Hermit just looks like shit. Like we're like, oh my god. And not like because I know some people don't like the alien Earth design or the alien Romulus, but I mean like effects wise. And we even talked about the last couple weeks where there's no log truck, but there's a couple effects that didn't look the greatest, right? And that's in stuff that's been around forever. So if they're trying to play around with this idea of him turning into something. I think the best way, and again, maybe this isn't the newest, I think the best way might be kind of to what they did with Shaw and her boyfriend or husband, right? Where he got really sick and then they just executed him. I think they should do that where something similar, not the exact same thing, but then that also pushes Wendy to think something's up, right? Because she could start investigating and be like, hey, in this world, I would think that him getting stabbed and then like them just repairing it is probably just like a simple procedure, right? With all the
Mhm.
sci-fi stuff they have. So I think if he gets really sick or something or mutated and he just dies to execute him, I think that could motivate her to be like, okay, something is not right with this company that I'm with here. So that's my prediction of where it's going to go. I don't think we're going to get the Romulus type of evolution. I just think he's going to be. I can't remember what that guy's. I know it's Logan Marshall Green, but in Prometheus, I think it's going to be something like that where he's going to progressively just get like sicker and sicker, and they're going to study him, but then eventually it's going to go. It's gonna go bad. I don't think he's making it to the finale. I don't think unless he's like in a comatose state.
Yeah, I think you only have so much plot armor, and I mean he's been kept alive for a specific reason. He's
Mm.
exercised a lot of plot armor up until this point, so I don't think he's gonna come out on top. I can tell you that much. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly his fate is, and I'm curious if you're right. If it is just they're gonna put that lung back in him, and just fuck, that's just gross. That's brutal. That's just so brutal. Ugh.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have no idea. Just in his hospital bed, healing
Just
and
opens
stuff
his
moving
eyes,
around his
sees
body.
them like lasering his spine or a part of his bone or something like that. Fuck.
Oh my god, yeah. So, yeah, no, we'll see what happens. But definitely, I think that's gonna be one of the biggest cruxes of that. Also, what's going on with Wendy, but the fact that they end on the lung thing, and yeah, I guess it's just. I guess Oliphant. How you feeling about his synth right now? It seems like he's just down to do whatever Prodigy wants, right? Like that's a big leap to take to poison someone like that. But it just seems like he's got the file or got
But
the
he's not as cold as David is. I think like he he's willing to make decisions and choices and act upon them to help preserve Prodigy and the company and everything along those lines. But at the same time, he's not devoid of being pissed off when Prodigy is treating him like shit, right? Like, hey, why did you leave Wendy? Da 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 da. He's like, oh, well, I left so and so with Wendy. He's like, they're kids. You're supposed to watch her at all times. Da da da. And he's like,
Hmm.
we're dealing with an alien invasion right now that you want us to clean up and collect. And he's like, oh, I didn't get you for excuses. Da, da, da. So he's definitely not devoid of all this mumbo jumbo. And it makes me wonder, like, at this point in time, we're dealing with cyborgs, synthetics, and now, which has been not publicly known, synthetics that have human consciousness. So he has to be just what he's not a cyborg because cyborgs are susceptible to the facehuggers and the eggs, which we saw with Moro. So he must be a synthetic. We haven't seen him bleed, but we can confirm he's a synthetic because look at how he's operating and working. He's super strong and whatnot.
Hmm.
So that makes him like David, but not like David because he can think, feel independently, and he's not just he doesn't feel like Ash does. You know, he feels very,
Yeah.
very different from the way Ash operates. And
He's
again, he
still
feels
though he's not though as separate though as David is though, right? Because David's
well, that's
definitely doing
right.
his own stuff,
And
where
even
Oliphant's
like
still helping out.
Tengu or whatever the guy's name was in on the ship, right? The with Moro's crew, how he was a synthetic and he was very weird and socially awkward and just different and whatnot. So again, this guy doesn't feel like an Oliphant's character doesn't feel like that. So I'm wondering if maybe they managed to successfully put a human consciousness in there and
Mm,
I don't know. There's something extra going on with him because he's not
something
acting like the other synthetics, right? So
yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see too, because yeah, like I would say he's not connected with any of the kids, right? Like I'm not saying he's not treating them expendable and he's not treating them like shit, but he also doesn't bond with anybody. He's still very business oriented and very has to get the
hmm
job done, and that'll be interesting to see. Okay, is he going to be like that the whole series, always just like by the Prodigy guy's side, or if he's going to turn around at all and maybe have some sort of come to Jesus for the sins? I don't know. I really don't know, but yeah, we'll see. So let's take our next ad break and we'll be right back. And we're back. So anything more to talk about the lung, Wendy, Oliphant?
nope.
I guess we can transition a little bit to some of the other synths and whatnot. I really did like that scene. I know Kirkland's not a big fan of the boy genius, but I liked that scene of I can't remember her name too. You were saying it was
She wants to be number one.
yeah, the girl that's let's just say she's number two. I don't say my number your favorite now. He's like no, but you're in the running. I did like that scene because I do think that's something that they should call out because I know he talked about like, oh, we created Wendy so I have these conversations and have someone challenge me. Get to, but so far what we've seen from Wendy, even the point we were talking about last week where she was like hacking into their system or like looking into like watching her brother. I would say already even before this mission, she proved she's not in the best interest of Prodigy, right? In the sense of sure science wise, but she's not a diehard. She has her own means because she has connection on the outside with her brother. Where number two here, I love that she's trying to pitch like, what can I do to be your favorite? And yet, I think that's a very fun storyline. I liked for the most part the two others. Obviously, they made them act like very kiddie, but they are children. And they had that meeting with the cyborg, and that's the one storyline I think I'm definitely the least invested on. So I like that actor. I like the scenes he had with the other synths, and I love what's going on with the whole. He like put like something on him to hack into his mind or speak to him. Not sure what that is, but I like that. I guess just when he uploads all the information, and there's a scene where he's walking back and he calls some Wayland Yutani representative and they're like, okay, well, you can come home now. He's like, well, I got no home and all the people I know now is dead and I take pride in my work and I'm gonna because he's saying I can get everything back and like, well, you've done enough and they have everything. Just come back. We'll figure something else out. He's like, no, I'm gonna have to. I hope I get a little bit more on that because not that I didn't buy it. I haven't given a reason to care yet of like what like I know he has an in, but why does he feel so strongly he has to get there? And I still wish, and maybe we'll get that. We could get
Why
a
like
flashback.
why he feels strong about fulfilling this mission?
Yeah, because even like Wayland and Tawny
Oh
felt very
well,
much like whatever, just come back. They weren't like really stressed because even when he says that, like, well, no, you should probably just come back. He's like, nope, this is something I have to do. So I think I wish I hope we get to see some flashbacks of that the original crew of the show.
I hope we get more flashbacks, and I'm sure we will. But I think in retrospect, it just comes down to, hey, this guy spent like what 65 years in space. We spent like he gave up his daughter. He gave up so much because this was a dream job, a dream gig, and he just wanted to give it his all.
Sounds
And
like a dream gig.
sounds like a dream gig. So, I mean,
Sarcasm.
I think most people. I'm not going to say all because there's some that wouldn't, but there's most people in this situation, if they're spending a lifetime working with something, they're going to take that risk, and it's their life's work. They're going to make that commitment and try and just follow through with it and go, in this case with Morrow, get it back, right? To me, it makes sense. It fits, but I need a little bit more emotional attachment to feel that from him because you don't
Yeah.
really have that yet. He's just very robotic.
Yeah, no, I don't really have that at all. I'm kind of the opposite where I don't. I guess I buy it just enough, but I'm not like, oh, this makes complete sense. Like it just maybe it's just on the lines I gave him or the direction. Maybe I could have felt like he was more invested in this situation, but I didn't really get that there. But yeah, and then now he has this device I was just talking about where he implanted in one of the Neverland kids' heads, and just before he's like about to go to bed, he's like, "Oh, you figure out that quote?" And this poor kid's like looking around, like, "Hello, like, yeah, you figure we got some good riddles here." And he did say on the phone call that he has an in, and I guess this kid is going to be his in, right? Because he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, we all need
Mm-hmm.
friends and all this sort of stuff," and that's gonna be interesting because I feel like he's gonna give up where that base is. Oh, excuse me, or like a mission they're going on. He's definitely he's gonna be one of the downfalls of Prodigy. This poor kid just, I'm sure the Prodigy or other people are gonna yell at him, and then he's gonna be all sad. So he's gonna need a friend to talk to. He's gonna talk to this guy who's just fucking using him. He's starting to do research on the Prodigy boy there. So yeah, what do you think about you spoke a little bit too, but yeah, what do you think about some of the cyborg stuff of him having the audio and I guess his end game's probably that, right? Just to find some location that he can, you know, disperse to and cause some havoc and get his stuff back. Which I feel is, unless you have a ship, I don't know. I think that's hard cargo to get back. Maybe he does have a ship I don't know about, but I feel like you gotta to get all the experiments because there wasn't just the Xenomorph. Which one I just laugh like how is he playing at the Xenomorph back, right? Like I know he had that little sack thing they put the Xenomorph in, but it busted out of that really easy last week. So like that's not the answer. So I think that's the other thing too. It just feels like a little unrealistic to me that he's gonna take on this whole company and get it all back. But yeah, what were some of your thoughts on this?
Yeah, how he gets a face hugger is morphing all that back to what, probably another continent. I'm not sure exactly where Prodigy is located, but
Yeah,
Yutani is very far away, the Wayland Yutani Corp. So I don't know how he's gonna pull that off, but I like it. I think it's interesting enough, and how he just plants that bug on the guy's neck, and he can talk to him and everything like that. I think there's definitely some fun stuff in there, and how he knows it's a kid, and he's on top of the fact that they're aliens he needs to retrieve. I think he's genuinely curious. Like you said, you had parents. Like, what are you exactly? Like,
hmm
let's discuss, as he would say. So I'm sure he's probably just as interested in figuring it out, but knows that, okay, when I'm dealing with kids, I know how to persuade them and have them, you know, gaslighted and all that.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, that's the one I'm just kind of least interested in right now. I'm not disliking the storyline. Luckily, there's nothing I'm disliking right now. Yeah, all the sins continue to be, good, like, pretending to be kid actors. I love that moment of, they say something about having parents and the cyborg picks up on right away and like, what is that? And then they go, no, no, don't say anything. So, and Oliphant, I like that too. And he just walks in the situation. I liked that joke with like, oh, are these your kids or are you the parent? He's like, no, I'm not. And they like they hide behind Oliphant, and Oliphant's just kind of like taken aback because he knows they're kids, but they're just like, like you're not helping me at all here with this situation. But yeah, I'm trying to. Let me look at my notes here if there's anything else. Is there anything else we haven't touched upon that you want to break down before we wrap it up here?
Negative.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. We got the Yeah, Boy Prodigy, he was fighting with those two we talked about. Nothing's happening there. We got the lung. We got the one trying to be number two. We got the kids. We got the surgeries. Yeah, no, I think we covered it all. So yeah, no, that'll be it for I guess tonight, and then we'll be back next week and see what's going on with Alien Earth episode 4. Probably get some of Kirkland's thoughts and
Hmm.
God, see what's happening to this poor guy's lung because I don't think next week it'll be a mess. I think it'll. What do you think? Do you think it'll be like a gradual build between a couple episodes, or do you think it would be like right away he would just get sick and bad stuff would happen?
I could see next up. Well, if they put the lung back into him, that's going to be a bit of a slow burn, leading into that. But if they don't put the
Yes.
lung into him, I could see the next episode starting off with this, just like bursting out of the lung.
Oh
I'm
well, then
like,
he's not
okay, here we
coming
go.
back then.
They could put a synthetic lung in there, I'm sure.
I guess either way, the brother's not dying. I'll say they got a couple more things to do
Yeah.
with him. I think with the sister and stuff, more conversations. So, but yeah, there you go. We'll be back next week for Alien Earth episode 4, and we'll be back obviously with lots of the stuff this week: side quests, Dexter, Peacemaker episode 1, and it won't